Hello everyone, I am Ravie Davie, the Fresh Prince of Drummond Square, and this is the 10 Years In podcast, episode 3, and I am joined with my partner,
Georgia.
And today we are going to talk about a lot of different things. We have Notepad Nisbet with a notepad in hand, already ready to go, been giving me jip all day because I've had a busy weekend and I've not really been able to talk to her about stuff about it, so I've been getting it in the ear. So let's hope this notepad is here to save the day. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, I've actually had a good think about the notepad, and I think I can speak on about half the girls in Scotland right now that having a notepad is like having your life in order. See, if you start your Monday by writing down some notes, just notes about editing, you do actually feel like you've got your life in order. So just leave me my notepad alone, at least I'm prepared.
I don't actually think it's just you, to be fair. I don't even think it's just Glasgow girls like you were saying. I was actually, when I was in Bristol waiting for Leighton to come from his flight from Ireland, there was a girl sitting with a notepad, and I was actually made me think about you because she was sitting writing on her notepad while she was having her coffee.
See, I bet she was loving it.
Probably.
So,
but, aye, on
sorry,
you
I
go.
was just a bit. There's me speaking on the top of you now.
Know what I mean?
That's the thing about the tables, they always turn. So, yes, as David was saying there, this is episode 3, which is so exciting. But it is episode 3 for us, but actually episode 1 has just aired last week, 4 days ago, and we just want to say a massive thank you to every single one of you who have watched, shared, commented, and just gave us some feedback. I was so nervous. I was going to say we were so nervous, but David McCallum would never ever in his life admit to being nervous, but multiple people have told me they think he was nervous. So we are just absolutely delighted and blown away by like the hundreds of yous that have watched it and actually enjoyed it, because for us we just feel like we're just chatting away to each other, but so many yous took so many nice things away from it.
It was fantastic. A lot of people praising us, giving us good feedback. A lot of people telling us it's going to be added to their podcast rotation. As you all know, the world has changed. Podcasts are people's versions of like listening to the radio when they're at work nowadays and stuff like that. So to get all this feedback and people telling us it's good is really it's good for the old ego, you know what I mean? Because we were a bit nervous obviously coming into it. I will admit that. Obviously everybody he's on the rang, the ones that guessed it, just because it's just starting something new, and also it's because I kind of pushed George into doing it. So if it didn't go well or we messed up, I'd have felt like if it's also that would be it's my fault. It was kind of done to me because it was my idea to do it. So I felt there was a bit of pressure on it, doing stuff for myself. Or if I do something myself and I fail, it's only really me to blame. But if me and George have done this and I get out of comfort zone and that, and it doesn't go well, that is my fault. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I rambling on a bit, but I was a wee bit nervous. Obviously not comfortable with telling people that I'm nervous about stuff, so that's why I'm not talking a lot of minutes, but getting that notepad and save me.
On the way up in the car in the first episode, David had said to me, look, by the way, listen, see if this isn't for you, and see if it makes you nervous or whatever and you don't enjoy it, then it's fine. Honestly, we will just scrap it and nobody needs to know. The recording doesn't need to go live. But probably my best bit of feedback that we've received early weekend was off of one of David's best pals, Dean, who wanted to just message David just to let him know that he had watched the podcast and Gio carried him the full way. And I was like, do you know what? I did actually carry you. And the minute I thought about it, I thought, you better watch it because this might end up Gio, the Fresh Princess's for Drummond Square's podcast featuring their wee boyfriend Ravie Davie.
The Notepad Nisbet podcast, you know what I mean? But and Dean is a good person to listen to about podcasts because he listens to basically every podcast in the world. He's right up for the Joe Rogan experience, so obviously him telling us that this podcast is like the George and Nisbet experience is obviously a good thing to hear. I think I've actually already recycled that, Joe. I think that's a memory I've already got, so that's bad part of me. But anyway, anyway, so just back from a big long weekend. In fact, no, before we move on, I actually wanted to read through some of the comments that we go on the YouTube and stuff like that about the podcast. Obviously, the first episode went live on Thursday. So since then, we've had but 10 we're not going to read all 10 comments, know what I mean? But here's some of the better ones. You can see them all anyway, to be honest. But we've got Tinny11 saying, brilliant watch, look forward to the next one. And then they're putting up the one like the Bloodline, acknowledging either me or Georgia as their tribal chief. So appreciate that.
The Bloodline?
That is obviously Roman Reigns and his faction. Surely you know what the Bloodline is.
I do know that.
Right. Alright, for the viewers, sorry, my bad, ignorance. I put you George out of trouble for not knowing who the Bloodline were. But the Bloodline in the WWE, I'm sure most people actually will have a rough idea. But there's a wrestler called Roman Reigns, and he had a team called the Bloodline. That was his faction. A faction is like a gang. So basically, in Scotland, we have young teams. Well, in the wrestling, they've got factions. So that's what they call their gangs in the wrestling. So Roman Reigns, he was a tribal chief, and you acknowledged them by putting the one up, and that's what Tinny's doing there. So that was that one. WJP3574 has said, great podcast, looking forward to the next episode. So are we. I'm looking forward to getting every week. This is something that's really exciting. When you get to leave the studio, we're talking about the next one and wanting to come in. Any other ones, Georgie?
The one for Steph Lunch.
Right, on you go, you read that
I
one.
can't really see it without moving away from my microphone. Love it, guys. Waiting for a shout for a guest appearance when you deep dive back into 2 weeks in. So Steph is one of my best pals. We have been pals since forever. But she was right there at the very start, and me and David got together when David was trying to I think you were trying to play hard to get and try to play all these games, and then in the end David actually ended up asking to go out with me. So Steph would be fantastic for some good stories. I can see there we've got a comment for Community Pro Wrestling.
I've actually not got one second before that one. For 2893 White Wolf said, that bottle placement has creased me. If you can notice, the bottle's right in front of me, so I don't know, it's probably flattering me, to be honest. But anyway, so on this bit here, right, this one here, that's from Community Pro Wrestling. Now, I'm sure most of these that are watching didn't know Community Pro Wrestling is me and George's wrestling company. So it looks like we're two absolute strobs who are like writing comments on our YouTube to praise ourselves. But it's actually we both, our stepson, because we've got YouTube Premium on the Community Pro Wrestling account. We just logged into his YouTube and he's commenting, letting us know the podcast's amazing. But just in case anybody's out there going, I look to stay at A2, you know what I mean, comment on the and stuff, I promise you it wasn't us. Actually, I suppose actually if you don't believe that, that's cool. Just make sure that you comment on the next video telling us that you don't believe it, right?
I was so excited on Thursday morning when the episode had went live and David had just come in for the gym, and I went, oh my god, we've got 2 subscribers, and he never said anything, and I says, wait, is one of them you? And he's like, aye, that's me. But I was just
like 2 of them will need to be fair. I think what David McCall and Community Pro Wrestling.
Oh well, still time for growth.
No. Well, actually, we're up to 100 now or something like that. So run about then. I think it's roughly 100. So
it's been
that's
fab
really
in
good.
The past couple of days. So thank you all so much.
I really appreciate it, everybody. Thank you so much helping us on this journey, joining us on it.
It is. So we were just saying there before we came in, we wanted to spend some time talking about our weekend. So you've obviously been away, had a big wrestling weekend, and me and Bo have been out of the weekend and stuff. So you want to tell us what you've been up to and tell us if you've been eating it and interesting?
I actually did. So I've got a food review on TikTok that I've no posted yet, that I'm going to wait until this goes out before I actually post it and stuff, because I just want to kind of keep in line with the podcast. So I went to Ireland on Thursday to go and wrestle for a company on Friday called Fight Factory Pro Wrestling. The reason I went in on the Thursday is obviously in all walks of life, all businesses, you're trying to make is affordable for the people that you're working for. Try to make it, the more affordable it is to fly me over and for me to wrestle and stuff like that, the more likely they're going to bring me back and stuff. So I got the flight on the Thursday instead with a friend, because the flights were like £30-40 cheaper, which means the guys could you get another wrestler on the show or pay for somebody else's flight, these different things. So also as well, I've been working about the last 6 weeks straight. So a wee day off. No, I mean, wasn't the worst. Even though it wasn't a day off because I was wrestling in Ireland on the Friday, but just it felt like I was on a wee 3-day holiday, even though I was away working, so it was good. So I was in Ireland on the Friday, wrestled a over 18 show, and I was in a 2-on-1 handicap match against a team called Gangland. And the reason they're called Gangland is because the wrestler, the main character in the team, is called Jay Steins. He comes out to straight out of Compton because he went to LA to go and see WrestleMania, and he seen that there was a wrestling show on in Compton, so he messaged the people about it, and they said, Jay, come down and we'll put you on the show. So Jay likes to turn up very early to wrestling shows, so he turned up 2 hours later, 2 hours early this show. It was in what can only be described as the ghetto in Compton, in the projects, and because he turned up earlier, there was actually a funeral in this house. It was actually a house this wrestling show was at as well. It was in the backyard, so there was a funeral before it, and then because he was from Ireland, the guys decided to let him win their belt on this backyard show, because of that, he thought, you know what, I'm going to go home and I'm going to run with this, and he started being announced from Compton, and he's gangland, and he's a gangster and all this stuff. It was brilliant. So I was against him and his partner, but the two of them, even though they're gangsters, the gimmick is that they can't really go. So I was I was battering them all about Ireland, and then I lost by disqualification because my mate Leighton Buzzard, who has been injured for a while, interfered in the match. So that one was a great day in Ireland, getting to wrestle on over 18 show as well. There's a couple of spots in it that would be good for you to see that probably maybe a bit too X-rated for the podcast, but it was a good laugh. I really enjoyed it on Friday. What did you do on Friday? You up to?
I'll let you finish.
Oh,
first.
right then,
You're right
fair,
into
fair.
this. Yep.
Just I feel I don't want to overtalk because the other 2 days are quite long as well.
You're quite good at that.
I'm alright. It's actually, if there was an Olympic sport for it, I would actually be in Paris right now and not going to be here. I'd be gone for gold. No, but so on the Friday, I stayed at my mate's Cowboys, and then I went to get my flight to Bristol on the Saturday. So went and stayed with Leighton Buzzard, my mate. It was actually quite funny. So I was going down to Bristol I had the bookings, the wrestling shows, and that, but I didn't tell my mate Leighton Buzzard about it because I was going to surprise him. But then he told me that he was booked in, he was going over to the island on the Friday just like I was, so I started kind of panicking because I know he's got lots of friends in Ireland. I was thinking he's not going to hopefully stay here for the full weekend and that, and then me coming down and surprising him was like ruining him, because I've been talking to his mother and that about it. But it turns out he was going back as well because he had like commentary and that to do, so he ended up being on the shows that I was on. So I stayed with him, went and wrestled at a company called Pro Wrestling Chaos. I actually debuted as the tag team champion and defended the tag team titles with a guy called Will Cruz, who is about, I don't know, 300 pounds and can do backflips to the outside of the ring. We had a banger of a match, crowd was over, go to wrestle in front of some of my family from Bristol that we haven't seen in a while, so that was really good. And then on Sunday it was through in Newport in Wales, a place that I wrestled years ago in when I used to wrestle for a company that used to tour all over the UK, and then getting to go back there and wrestle with some guys that I've like bonded with in like camps and that up and doing the wrestling scene in the UK. Brendan White, Danny Jones, all these guys, getting to go and see them again. It was fantastic. 3 companies that I've really wanted to work for, and right now the last 4 wrestling matches I've had have all been for new companies, and everyone has been outside Scotland. So starting to really get always love wrestling, but it feels like it's getting ramped up even more because I feel like I'm actually, it is my job and I'm a professional wrestler, but I'm starting to feel like a proper professional wrestler because like I'm just getting phone about places and just doing some cool stuff. So a class weekend. So
there was no eating at all.
There wasn't actually. I'm like, I just forgot about that. I know, not a wrestling podcast, but no. So the eating. Anybody who's ever been to Ireland, and actually 2% of our listeners are from Ireland.
I know, I saw that.
So if you've all been to Ireland or from Ireland, everybody knows Supermax, the chicken place. They sell the chicken breast sandwich. Absolute fantastic. They had so the chicken burger was about an 8 out of 10, right? But they had these. George, I'll tell you, right? I don't know what it is, but I'm a mad pervert for dirty fries, right? Not English, you know, not even.
You were speaking of polite there, and then you've just said pervert.
Yeah, I suppose we can cut that out. I don't know. We'll see how Curtis feels. But anyway, right, I really love dirty fries, right? And they had these taco ones. I also love Mexican food, right? And they had these taco dirty fries, and oh my god, they were dying. They honestly were like a 9.8 out of 10. Honestly,
you'll never give a 10.
No, because you need to be able to eat it every day. You need to be able to eat it every day. I couldn't eat these every day.
Food opinions are too high to give anybody a 10.
But it was dynamite, and then I got this Biscoff milk like Sunday thing. That was really good. Honestly, it was fantastic. That on it, Supermax was probably the highlight of the weekend. I actually forgot about it, but that was really good. Then on Saturday, I went to a place called, it's just like a wee breakfast place. To be honest, it was an English breakfast place. Didn't have square sausage. It was a bit fancy.
But when you're in Ireland, or
no, Bristol. I went to Bristol the next day.
Are you looking for square sausage?
No, I wasn't looking for it, but just it's a breakfast with a square sausage, isn't it? It's good, no? I mean,
it's like setting yourself up for failure.
One good thing about Bristol, no, so no good thing about Bristol. The bad thing about Bristol is it's heavy expensive. During lockdown, Leighton Buzzell was telling me that all the people from London moved to Bristol, and it's because it's only like an hour and a half commute for their job, so they moved to get cheaper house and stuff, and the price and all that has went up. So the breakfast was a bit fancy. It wasn't really into that, but it was alright. It wasn't perfect. But the one thing about England now is they don't really challenge you about your Scottish notes anymore. They look at it, and then because of the plastic ones, I think it's because of the plastic notes, they don't really think that you can forge them. So that's good. And then on
You're
Sunday,
quite sassy about that, aren't you?
I was honestly, I'm not going to lie. I said I'm very argumentative. I just don't know, but I was actually something I was talking to Curtis before the podcast, and I just forgot about it. And I thought that I was talking to you about it. So I've brought that in here. But anyway, I'm going off in too many tangents here, know what I mean? Here's us thinking about here's us thinking when I had a 45-minute episode, but know what I mean? Where was it? I'm a very argumentative, so I was ready for them, know what I mean? Anytime they'd be like, look at that, I was oh, let's go, man. That's legal tender. That's legal tender, wee man. So that was that. And then on the Sunday, I had just had a Subway, and I'm not even going to lie, I don't even really like Subway, because Subway isn't actually legally bread, because if you 60% of it, it's only 60% of the bread is bread, and the rest of it's sugar, so it's actually considered a pastry. So I've got a wee funny thing about Subway, but it was actually quite nice. I got a rotisserie chicken and bacon sandwich. Sorry, I was whistling at the last of the counter, that's how it got in my head. But aye, really good weekend, and I'm going to pass it to Georgia because I've spoke for about 20 minutes, I feel. That
was a really long-winded explanation about your weekend, but
it was good. But how was yours?
Mine and Bo's were fab. I went to pick Bo up on Friday, and he got a new. His dad got him a new phone, so he gets in the car and waits to show me his new phone, and up comes Spotify, and he's listening to the podcast.
Ah, class.
And I says to him, "Oh, are you listening to the podcast?" And he said, "I am supporting yous." And I was like, "Oh God, that makes me want to cry." And I was like, "Thank you so much." So Bo's going into first year in a couple of weeks, so everything's changing. So we were just up the town getting him loads of stuff for school, but then we went to Big Licks at Braehead, because that's where he wanted to go. And I feel like me, you and Bo are all white chocolate connoisseurs. Everywhere we go, we would always pick white chocolate for each other. So we both got white chocolate cookie dough, raspberry ripple ice cream with Nutella. He got Biscoff crumble. Then on Saturday we went to see Despicable Me 4 in Braehead. That was really good. What'd you say?
We should review.
It was really good. The only thing was Bo was genuinely falling asleep like 10 minutes into it, because he's actually turning day into night right now because of the summer holidays. So he was moving about the full time because he was trying to keep himself awake. But it was good. And on Sunday, yesterday, we went to... Actually, I had a massive tub of copers in the house. You'll not know about this tub of copers I had.
What's copers for the people that are watching in Ireland? Not because I don't think they'll know what copers are.
What, like 1s and 2 pences? Oh, really?
No, they have euros.
Right, okay. Oh, aye. So had some wee cents in the cupboard. So I used to save up £1 and 50 pences, and David used to take them out the tub. So I had to end up only started to save up 1p's, 2p's, 10s and 20s. So the box that I had was absolutely full, and I thought to myself, right, there's going to be like 20 quid in that. So we get to the wee coin machine in Asda and I says to Bo, right, you can just keep that, because I thought there's no going to be enough in this. 60 quid later. And I was like, why did that? Say that to him. So that's what we got up to. It was he's still going.
I was about to say, I bet he's still going, man. Honestly, man.
No, but that was really our weekend. I will say though, it has been absolutely bliss without you. Really, Bo actually also mentioned this. He's 12 years old, and one of the things that I've actually was finding you quite irritating leading up to you got to the island last week, because this full argument that we keep having right now about recycling, because you don't believe in recycling, right? But I do. Curtis, do you believe in recycling?
It's not that I don't believe in it.
Yes.
No, it's not that I don't believe in it, right? You're saying that I don't
Curtis
believe
is a good man.
No, it's not that I don't believe in it. I think it's a good thing to do, right? But I've worked for the Glasgow City Council cleansing department. I know that they don't put the blue bins in the recycling bit. I'm trying to tell you that's what they see all the bins, they put them in and it just goes into the big one landfill. So it's an illusion.
Right,
so
well,
I'm just saying, if there's a bin full and I've got some plastics and that blue bin's full, I'm sorry, but it's going in the green one, and that's the way the cookie crumbles, and that's the bottom line, because Big Ravie said so. Alright, so how'd that?
This isn't a wrestling podcast.
I know, it's not.
So we've got a new bin, and it's a black bin, and I'm trying to teach David, just gonna put your plastics and your cans in the black bin. And we were arguing back and forth, and I said to him, look, I don't ask you for anything, right? But I'm just saying to you, it would make me so happy if you can just put them in that bin, because it stresses me out when the bins are full to the gunnels. And I thought I'd win you over, right? Because last week you were coming towards the house and you had a can of Monster on your hand, and I thought, oh, here he comes. Takes a sharp left straight onto the black bin, and I thought, 1-0 Georgia, here we go. And then it comes in the house last week when you'd left for Ireland and you'd shoved an empty box eggs inside the bin in the house, and that really tipped me over the edge. I actually had to sit down and think, Georgia, he's away for 4 days, don't even text him and give him abuse, because he's not worth it. It's the bins are not worth it.
I'm not worth it. What do you mean, man?
The recycling's a big thing. So I actually was starting to think, maybe this is a relationship thing where somebody believes in recycling and somebody doesn't. But I'm out here trying to save the planet, and you'll know. I'm
out here trying to save the planet too, man. Don't know how.
Oh, so again, that's just one of our differences. We spoke in the episode 1.
I'm trying to smoke. That's what I'm trying to save the planet. I don't drive. Right, I'm not causing pollution.
It's one of our differences, and that's what quite a lot of comments that we got off the back of the first episode was that people were laughing so much about how different we both are. And a girl that I know, Amy, who messaged me on TikTok, and she's just said that, oh, I'm laughing so much about how different you are for each other. How do you put up with him? And I was laughing back and messaged her back, and this bit of advice that I got years ago about how to put up with David, and I thought I need to share this, because there could be many people or many ladies out there who are suffering with people like David, and I thought, I'm going to help them. I'm just got to give them some advice. So, what'd you say?
What your favourite for buzzing, man?
This really helped me though years ago. So again, it was another comment from my Uncle Thomas. I feel like Uncle Thomas is the theme of the season, which he loves. He phoned me the other night just to say like how proud he is. So that was nice. But I remember about 7 years ago, I was speaking to my Uncle Thomas about how much David was annoying me because he doesn't clean up after himself.
Remember the time we met your Uncle Thomas? That's a story for.
He wasn't cleaning up after himself. He wasn't doing just usual like household stuff that, in my opinion, he should have just been looking and realising that things needed done.
The tone down, man. My ma died when I was 6. My nana and my sister babied me for years to come. Then just all of a sudden, my nana died. My sister went to cat. You know what, David? I'm going to leave the house in 6 months. 6 weeks later, she said I'm going to leave the house in 6 weeks. 6 days later, she'd moved out. Know what I mean? So it was a wee bit dramatic. Georgia moved round. And I just thought all this stuff done itself. I thought the dishes washed themselves. Thought when you took your clothes off, they walked themselves to the basket. I just thought all this stuff happened because I was babied. And
that's Gio the Janny in the background, or the wee washing fairy. Gio the Job is going about and doing all these things. That's what I'm saying. Just
in my defence, I wasn't a mad smelly bastard. Debatable, but. But I was just babied, you know what I mean? It's
So
my fault.
this
There's
is
also a wee gossip because I was brought up with two women, you know what I mean? I wore a towel on my front and my back, you know what I mean? What to do?
So I was speaking to my Uncle Thomas, but I was actually texting him, and the next time he phoned me and he says to me, Georgia, what you need to realise here is that David isn't intentionally trying to annoy you. He's like, think of it like this. Men are like wee puppies, and when you get yourself a wee puppy, you need to train it up. So what you need to do here is you just need to talk to David, and maybe if you just asked him to help you out, instead of taking everything personal and thinking he's doing this to annoy me, then you probably would go on a lot better. And I thought, nah, that's not the case. He's just intentionally annoying me. So I thought, okay, I'm going to put this to the test. And I remember thinking, right, I'm going to ask him to do the dishes. And I asked David to do the dishes, and he just stood up and he started doing the dishes. And I was like, okay, that was a test, this is a practice. Then I asked him a couple of times after that to take the washing out, to bring the washing in. And he done everything I asked him to do, and I thought, what is this wizardry? Like, why am I asking him to do things and he's doing them, but he won't use the half of his own back? So after that, I thought to myself, right, okay, he probably is a good help, but only when asked. And since then, I felt like that was probably one of the best bits of advice that I got gave in a relationship when I was young, because we actually probably then have learned so much to work together, because I'll realise that although you need to give him in detail, like instructions, like can you put the clothes in the washing machine and turn the washing machine to number 5, then press on. And it does take that amount of detail, but you do it.
I guess done. Job a good one.
So I just want to say, ladies, if you've maybe got men at home that are a bit, no using their initiative, try the puppy method. It might actually work.
I mean, if they push in the sheet, rub their nose in
it. But honestly, there is just so many differences that over the years we've just managed to work through. But one thing I would say is we do share one love for things, and it's definitely podcasts.
Aye, no, definitely do. We've got a good couple that we like together, and we'll go to this. I'll go. You say it.
You butting in them? You talking at the top of me?
Well, you were doing it me earlier.
No, so I would say I probably get into podcasts. I would say really you started listening to them during lockdown when you were playing Football Manager 24/7, and you then suddenly got an obsession with LeBron James. Would you agree with that?
Well, actually started when I was listening to the Edge and Christian podcast.
Right. And who are they?
They're two wrestlers, funny enough. So I listened to the Edge and Christian podcast, and then I started listening to Something to Wrestle With podcast. And then the basketball thing with LeBron James, I started staying, because it was lockdown, I started staying up and watching the basketball, LeBron James' class. So I started like that, and I started listening to podcasts about LeBron James basketball while I played Football Manager. Makes sense.
I just kept thinking, oh God, please don't get into another sport, because I'd learned the rules of football. I'd just no longer learned the rules of wrestling. I thought, here we go, he's into another sport, and you genuinely weren't coming off a Football Manager. But the good thing about the podcast was that we finally both shared a love for Shits and Gigs, which is a podcast that we listen to every week. And I just really started listening to that when you were just walking about the house playing it, because you were like, listen to this, listen to that. But we went to see their live audience show. When was that?
It was in May the 25th. It was the 25th of May.
So it was only a couple of weeks ago.
It was not long ago. 2 months, a month and a bit.
It was in the O2 in London.
2 months ago.
And David had actually phoned me last year in November and said to me, do you want to come and see this show? It's in the O2, and I was like, oh, that would be brilliant. So we went along a couple of weeks ago in May, and it just shows how well podcasts can do, because they had sold out the O2. There was 15,000 people there.
It's not just them, there's other people that sold out. I can't remember the names of them, but there's like these guys for Liverpool. Open Goal sold out the Hydro on that as well, so there's a lot of podcasts that
have done really, really well. And the thing that happened the night of the Shits and Gigs, we just need to share it, because this is just a total being in a Ravie Davie life's moment that we need to just share with you.
Right, so I'll take it away from there. So I wanted to go and see Shits and Gigs. I know it's 12,000 seater stadium. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. Basically, I could afford to get the decent seats, not the VIP one. So I thought, I'm going to splash out, take Georgia, we'll get VIP tickets. It's a bank holiday weekend. Let's go to London. Let's enjoy ourselves. So I bought the VIP tickets, right? I don't know where I got the idea for it, but I just thought VIP tickets, right? I thought it was little wrestling shows. We'd have a VIP ticket, you get a meet and greet or something. And I thought James and Fuhad will got to do a meet and greet. So I'm in the building at the O2. We've got our bands, and we've not got our bands actually. That's part of the story. So we're in. I'm going to be asking everybody, where's this meet and greet? Where's this meet and greet? They're telling us, go down there. It's down there. So we go down and you get these like complimentary t-shirts and a signed poster. So I'm like, right, you must get these, and then you go out the meet and greet and you can get them signed and stuff like that. And then I'm asking everybody, and they're like, oh no, it's just like the meet and greet's like invite only and stuff. I was like, aye, we've got the VIP tickets, we're fine. So somebody said it was going to happen at this place, All Bar and One or something, right next door. So I'm like, 2 seconds, Georgia, I'm running down, and I actually bumped into these two, was it Canadian women?
Aye,
and they were the same. They had got the VIP tickets and they thought they were getting a meet and greet as well.
So when David, I don't know if anybody's ever been in the O2, but all of the restaurants and everything are actually inside the O2.
That's like a shopping centre, kind of restaurant.
When we sat down, we saw the show, we were 4th for the front, so everybody in front of us also were all VIP as well, and they all had these free t-shirts in a clear cellophane bag, and the show was amazing. But straight after that, basically,
when I went to All Bar and One, I know, sorry, just to butt in, I'd obviously been told about it was an invite only part. So when I went to All Bar and One, the guy said, do you need a band? I said, where'd you get the band for? And he said he didn't know. I was like, right, I'll see you later, mate. That is an integral part of the story. So I went away, asked everybody about the band. It turns out it was like an invite only thing. It was like their pals or whatever. But I was adamant, like, nah, I've paid a lot of money for these VIP tickets. Not, I'm sure that I get to meet these guys. So we went in, we're in sitting, so you take it away, sorry, what you were saying. But it's not as if I don't have to tell that part of the story's you're not going to get it at the end.
So straight over for the show into All Bar One, and one of the security guards had said to David earlier on, listen, it'll be me that's letting everybody in, I'll remember you, so if you both come over, I'll just let you in. So after the show, we go over to All Bar One and we're waiting to go up the stairs, and he brings the manager down, and this lassie shows her phone and she says to the guy, I've been invited, and she shows her phone. So David was showing his phone just to, no, right, you're not talking to
I really need to mention about the manager. So the manager is this big, tall, dark, handsome guy, right? With a red cowboy hat on. Just swaggering down. It was me, Georgia, and this other woman waiting to try and get in, and he disappeared with the other woman. So where the guy came down, he's took the woman away, right? I've noticed him going over by where the male toilet is, and he's went into an elevator. Right, so Georgia's needed the toilet. I've said to her, right, you go under the toilet and I'll go to the toilet as well. So when I've walked over to the toilet, I've went into the guy's toilet and I've noticed that elevator's there. So I went in, done the toilet, whatever. I've come out and I'm looking at the elevator, see if there needs like a key or needs anything to get up the elevator, because some of them you do need like fobs and stuff like that. And you didn't. So Georgia's went in the toilet and I'm like to her, right, you come here, get her here. And she's like, no, I can't do that, I can't. And I think what was else you heard, there was girls like talking about people skipping in or something like that, or
people were just saying, oh, like, how would people have the nerve to actually sneak in here? But he's giving me the eyes and he's saying to me, get out here, and I was like, I'm not going out there with you, because I knew he was going to try and sneak me up in this lift. So eventually I thought, there's no many times in the past 10 years he's got angry with me, but at this point I thought, I really need to go out here because he's getting raging. So we goes in the lift, gets up the top, and we gets meted by another security guard who says, where is your wristbands? And I actually felt like I was like 14 years of age. I felt like I'm going to get marched out of All Bar One, because I'm sneaked in, even though I've got a VIP ticket, and all I want to do is go into the meet and greet with everybody, where everybody else is gone. So anyway, he's radioed down to the first security guard and he says, just let the two of them in. So we're like, what was that all about? Like, we've paid for the tickets, we should be in here. So anyway, we gets in, we goes to the bar. Next time when we go in,
you see Harry Pinero, Darkest Man, all these celebrities for doing that way.
So when we get in, we goes to the bar and we look about and we're thinking, this is really strange that there's only maybe 60 or 80 people here. This place, for the amount of people at VIP tickets, why is there nobody in here that are walking about with their free cellophane bags? Then we were in the queue and we realised we were running about all these famous people, and we're thinking, why is there only like famous YouTubers here? So anyway, we goes to sit down, we gets a drink, and people were coming up to us and saying, who you's here with? Who you's here with? And we're thinking, ourselves? Like, what are you talking about? Who you here with? And then the next time James and Fuhad comes in, who are the guys that run the podcast, nobody's in a queue meeting them, and they're just walking about talking to everybody. Then it dawned on me and David that me and David from Govan were in with all their family and friends. There was never a meet and greet. There was never a meet and greet. Me and him sitting with these free t-shirts, and
the only ones with the bags, only people with the 2 bags and the t-shirts and the signed posters, know what I mean?
The both of us were fucking busting, but we didn't want to go up and go to the toilet in case we got packed to
it. No, because the toilet was outside as well. Because that's how they get, see the guy, like George, there was another security guard, the other security guard was the guy downstairs' dad, and the guy downstairs said, right, I'm going to get you the manager. So the managers came down. The guy's no seen what's happened with the managers. He just thought the managers took them upstairs, let them in, so even though we know what the bands were alright. So that's how we got in. So that was obviously me just thinking fast my feet, because when the guy came up and said about it, I know I said, oh, radio, I actually was what I said to him, radio down to the boy, and he should tell you that we're sound. He's seen me here before, he knows about the situation. So we got that one. But we were in as well, what was it? So George was saying about the angry thing, right? So when we go to things like, so if I go to concerts now, I'm the type of guy that tries to get myself down to the front, you know what I mean, snuck into Green Day, just going to mosh pits, all these kind of things, right? But obviously when I'm out like, with George and stuff like that, I'm not going to like take my girlfriend to the front of the queue because it's a bit dangerous. You wouldn't feel comfortable anyway.
I wouldn't go anyway.
That and all.
I'd rather be as far as back as
I know, but in
possible.
mosh pits, like, even any of the things, I would never ask her to do any of the things. I would never try and like make her feel uncomfortable. Usually, I would rather no do the part that I enjoy and just enjoy it her way than then. But I just felt like we were all doing London. I honestly was running about for about an hour and a half trying to find this meet and greet earlier on. I'd have been sick to my stomach if she never came with. So I just had to gear the eyes and just say, get her here the now. That lift is coming down. If we don't get there, I'm going to be miserable and you've got to hear me moan all night.
But actually turned out an amazing night. But I just think the guy, like James and Fuhad, they must have been thinking, who are these two? Like, why are all my pals here and then these 2 random Scottish people?
To be fair, I did soften them up, obviously telling the 2 of them they're as tall as John Cena, because obviously
they were loving it, weren't they?
They were loving that, man. I was trying to actually also get them to come and do a bit of wrestling, but they weren't into that. Because they always talk about, they're a bit insecure about their height, and I'm not going into this, not I mean, that's a bit much, not I mean, I'm going to end up fucking having beef with 2 guys that I really like, so let's know that. They're the same size as John Cena, that's all you need to know. Let's move on. But have you any of you ever had situations like that? Has your boyfriend ever made you do something where you felt uncomfortable but you end up doing it and it worked out as a good night, or is it vice versa? Is your girlfriend ever doing it with the boyfriend? I feel like a lot more like guys this day and age, like there'll be guys like, I don't know why I watch Love Island, but Missy's forced me and now I watch it myself when she's out, stuff like that. Is there any stories like that you've got? Let us know in the comments, because it was, as I said, Georgia even said herself, it was something that she did feel uncomfortable with, but she ended up enjoying herself and she had an unforgettable night. We all go to meet them, James, Fuhad, Rem and Ellis. We also met a girl called Atanga who told us to go and start the podcast, so she ends up being watching this. Shout out to you, we've finally done it, know what I mean? So that agency stuff.
That was just an amazing story, and also being pushed into situations sometimes isn't always the worst, but it would be good to get some audience participation in stories like this. Write in and tell us, because we want to talk about them so we can read them out in the podcast. One thing that people aren't shy of talking about is food reviews. Now, we promised in episode 1 we were going to go and do a couple of food reviews, but we've not yet done it because we've not really been together in the past couple of weeks.
Had many free weekends.
So we'll definitely do that. I mentioned Frank's, the pizza place, in episode 1, and when the episode went live on YouTube the other day, Big 50 sent me the link to Frank's, and I wrote to him saying, aye, that's the place I'm talking about in the podcast. He was like, oh shit, Georgia, I was actually meant to send that to somebody else, but because I was watching you, I've sent that directly to you. And he's like, but I'm not got to go there. And I thought, I'm influencing people already, and I've not even been myself.
Aye, and speaking of influence, obviously what happened to you, Nasda?
Somebody come up to me and the Rizzy rose from my toes.
Red Roger t-shirt.
Somebody came up to me and Bo and Asda yesterday and said, "Well done on the podcast, by the way." And I was like, "Oh, did you watch it?" I didn't know what to say, which was really nice. So if you're watching this, then thank you. But yeah, so we definitely still want to do some more food reviews. It would be good to get some suggestions. I probably should
go to Frank's this weekend, didn't you?
Are you shadow boxing with the microphone? But I thought we'd be good to get some suggestions off you guys.
Let us know in the we're asking that you write hundreds of things in the comments, to be fair, but definitely this one is the most important one because there's hundreds of places in Scotland and we'll just end up being indecisive if we have to think of it ourselves. So get them in. Where do you like? Even not I will be brutally honest. If you want, send us somewhere that's don't let her know that it's not nice. Not but send us somewhere you don't want either. Nothing. We really want to be getting to do these food reviews because it's a big part of what we want the podcast to be. Just an insight into our lives and what we like, and food is a big part of that. So. It's a big part of everybody's life, and if you don't eat food, you're fucked. But anyway,
I think that is it for episode 3.
That is us for episode 3. Ravie Davie and Georgia signing out. Hope you've enjoyed it, and again, like, subscribe, 5-star reviews, all that good stuff, please, so that we can help this grow. And
we just want to say a massive thank you to Curtis, who has been guiding us in the past couple of weeks. We are doing a Studio 23 in Renfrew, and Curtis has got loads of availability, loads of chances here for people to start podcasts. This has been such a relaxed and exciting couple of weeks for me and David, and you should get involved as well if you've ever, thought about starting a podcast. This would be the perfect opportunity
and the perfect
also
place.
As well, go on to his Instagram, and we're tagging it all the time as well, but Studio 23 Renfrewshire, because Instagram, there is another couple TikTok, of podcasts that he records, so you can get in and listen to them as well. But thank yous, and see you soon.
Bye.